Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's 12:02 p.m. on the 18th of October 2024. This is going to be another video where I'm featuring some of the Wyckoff indicators I've been putting in my charts. And also I'm going to use other information and other indicators in HGSI. Now, if you're an Insider Club member, I want you to delete my charts, scans, and warehouse views, everything that I normally point out to you, anything with my name on it in the charts and the warehouse views. You don't really have to worry about the filters and combos. But if you'll take care of that, then you'll have everything that I'm going to be showing you today. As always, the market is your teacher. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now for this video, I am using the screen the way I use it every day. This is a 32-inch Samsung screen, Samsung monitor, and I have it set on 125% rather than 150. So everything is going to be a little bit smaller for you. But if you watch this video in the highest definition and just go, when you open up the YouTube video, go to the lower right corner and select the highest quality video that you can watch it, and everything should appear okay. If you can't read the symbols up here, the charts will contain the symbol of the stock, at least these two charts will. Now I'm using 3 charts on this rather than 2 because I'm going to point out different things. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about fractals, and also I want to use the Wyckoff indicators plus the moving averages. So I'm going to start this series, or add to this series I should say, with the Wyckoff indicators, and I'll be building on this theme in the next several weeks, just to show you how you can get so much more out of the software. The way I have my screen set up is I have the warehouse view up here, of course, and then I have a weekly chart with a comparison of the stock's strength compared to the S&P 500, and then I have chart number 2A under my white charts, which has a relative strength the industry is blue. The relative strength to the industry is green. So if the green line is going up, that means this particular stock is outperforming or its industry group. Also on this chart, I have all of the moving averages I use. The 3, 6, 18, 50, 100, and 200. And as I go through this video, you'll see why I use these moving averages. And these histograms down here, this is a 3-6 crossover, this is a 6-18 crossover, and this is the 18-50 crossover. These are microtrend, or this represents the microtrend, the short-term trend, and the intermediate-term trend. And you'll see that I have a scan. In fact, I have a scan on right now looking at the micro trends and the days since the crossover based upon this window right here. And then this chart over here, this is the chart which shows the Wyckoff indicators, which are showing bars when there is accumulation. Now the smart groups I'm going to be working with, just to cut down the number of stocks, or the consistent earnings growth, or the box stocks. These are stocks that have varying degrees of consistency in their earnings. If you don't know what a box stock is, go to the help menu and search for HGS boxes, and it gives you a breakdown. Now this folder right here, if I take the filter off, you can see that there are 561 securities that are considered box stocks at this point. If I click on this one, that cuts it down to 99, and these are box stocks that have a EPS rank and a relative strength rank of at least 85. These are the best criteria stocks based upon criteria that we put together in a workshop probably 15 years ago. That was best criteria at the time. ERG 240 strong stocks, or stocks with an EPS and RS and a group rank that adds up to a minimum of 240. These are growth stocks. These are high profit margin stocks. LLUR, or lower left upper right stocks. Moving down, moving up, quarterly EPS acceleration. Box 7, these are turnaround stocks that have had an earnings miss and are turning around. And then here's box stocks yielding at least 2%. These are all under our smart groups, under my name and Ian's name. And this is just a breakout or a subgroup of the consistent earnings growth. So there's 561 here, and if I go down, for example, to the box 7 stocks, that cuts it down to 95 securities. So you can scan on all of them or just some of them. I think I'll concentrate on the box stocks for this. Now I'm going to go about 30 minutes on this, no more, and I'll build upon this every week. But let's go with these. So I'll click through to the warehouse view, get through here, and there's 95 in here. I'm going to apply a filter, and the scans that I'm going to be using are what I call my context scans. You'll find these in the essential warehouse views, and these scans are based upon moving averages. So the micro trend end of day, I'll use the intraday. By the way, I need to update my intraday data to get it current. So the micro trends are stocks in this box, which means, I'll show you here as soon as this finishes updating, which means that every stock in here has to fit into this window right here, and the other windows are not applicable. Today this one crossed over here, but as of last night, these stocks were only in here. So let's bring one up. Korea Electric Power, don't know anything about it. But as I bring this up, and I'll zoom in, you can see that the 3 has crossed the 6 right here. Let's bring up a, right here was the 3-6 crossover, which happened right here. But notice that the 6 and the 18 and the 18 and the 50 are still negative. So these scans search out stocks or eliminate stocks unless they're falling into this window right here, 3 and the 6. And then you can see the number of days since the crossover here. So Korea Electric Power crossed over 4 days ago. The Wyckoff indicators as of last night were less than average, below average, and very high. You can see that I just updated this. The last is 763, and here is a gap up today, which is reflected right here. Right here. Now this isn't a stock I'd be looking at because I see the volume right here is 109,000 shares. I just selected it because it was the top stock. Let's go to some more familiar names. Here's Tyson Food. As of the close last night, the volume was low, the spread was below average, and it was down. You can see right here in this bar that it was down last night, which is reflected in this information up here. But today it's showing up because remember the scan is based upon the 3 and the 6 crossover. This crossed over 4 days ago and the VPA crossed over 6 days ago, and it had a little run, as you can see, after the crossover. It's pulled back now, but we're getting a low volume test. I'm going to close this and take a look at the weekly chart. What's the weekly chart showing us? It's showing us that the stock has been in an uptrend with higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher high. Here's a higher high, here's a higher high, here's a higher high. It's pulled back. There's a low volume test last week. This is the current week. So the weekly chart is up, but the daily chart is down, and there are several ways to see this with the moving averages. Here's the 3-6 crossover to the downside, but now it's crossed up on the 3-6 crossover, but the 6 and the 18 have not yet crossed over, but you can see the momentum has slowed. It's moving up, and the same thing goes for the 18 versus the 50. So after this strength seen returning, it had a nice little run up here, but the trend is certainly not up yet in the daily chart because these other histograms or the other moving averages have not been crossed to the upside. I'm going to switch charts here. Just go down to number 3 with the MA crossover, and let's see how this corresponds to the Wyckoff indicators. You can see as I click on here, strength seen returning after a downtrend appears, and the yellow bar indicates narrower price spread, lower volume, but it's a positive close. So we're seeing some Wyckoff accumulation based upon this criteria. Now I put these bars in here, and they seem to work pretty well to show us when there are accumulation days and when there are distribution days. And this is a good sign when you get a VPA flag. The momentum is getting better on the 3-6 because these histogram bars are less and less, and then they cross over. So there was, on the crossover day, after that, it's moved up pretty nicely actually. This was around 59, a little over 59, and it got as high as 61.30 or so. Then a little pullback here. Pullback, notice, and I'll zoom in on this, is on very light volume. See this red bar? See the green bars here? They're the volume bars, but here's the 90-day moving average. And the red bar is even less today, so this is why a low volume test is being generated. So we know the weekly trend has generally been up, higher highs and higher lows. This is a pullback. I want to point out here that the 3-6 crossover was right here, and there have been a couple of Wyckoff accumulation bars before that. Low volume test, and it moved up nicely. Effort to rise. Low volume days, but with white candles, accumulation days, and then it gapped up here, a slight pullback, accumulation day, shakeout day, and then more accumulation days, all the way up. And then it got a little bit overheated, it looks like, and See the group line, the dotted line? The group was going up. Look what happened. The group turned down here, and the stock fell. Then the group started back up, but this didn't regain. But here is the crossover to the downside, which could be interpreted as a sell signal, and that happened on this long black bar. But as it comes down, notice that the 3 and the 6 are coming together, and the momentum slows down as it bounces back up. So the selling pressure is coming off, and then right here is the crossover day as more accumulation comes in after this strength seen returning, and then it moved up. And a pullback now and a low volume test. It's probably not a bad place to consider taking this stock. Where would the stop be? It would be below this low pivot. Now, I'm going to bring up a tool here, annotation tool, and I'm going to click on this R. I'm going to put it right on the low of that, and if I waited for this to clear or to hit that for a buy stop, I would only be risking 2.65% if I went just below or right at the low of this pivot. So rather than buying it here, even though this is a low volume test, if it took this area out here, that would be getting past the resistance on this bar, but not this resistance. But the risk is only 2.65%. Okay, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to quick add to group. I'm going to put it in a watch list and possibly take a trade on it on Monday. See how it closes the day today. Yes, the weekly is in a downtrend, but this 3 crossing the 6 indicates buying interest, and you can see it right here in the chart. Okay, now I'm going to go slowly today, and I'm probably not going to get a lot covered, but I just want you to use or look at the weekly chart, the daily chart with the crossovers and the histograms, and then the Wyckoff. So let's go down to the next view. So that's a micro trend. Now I'm going to go to the short-term trend intraday, and let's take a look at this. Now these are the intraday prices. If I bring this, you can see that the intraday crossover is there. There's a green. Let me bring this over here. You can see that the 6 crossed the 18, and the 3 has already crossed the 6, and that happened back here. Now the 6 is crossing the 18, and this is the next contextual chart. So this stock has a little bit more momentum based upon relationship to the moving averages. Now it's kind of hard to see, but this is the 18, and the 6 crossed the 18 yesterday, and the 3 crossed the 6 right here. Now let's take a look at the weekly chart. Well, this chart is way too volatile for me. But look at this. I mean, you really have to believe in this stock or be crazy to take a trade like this. But I'm just showing you how these charts work now and what they find. But look at this huge move up on the weekly, and then it's fallen ever since, and it came back down to about support. So I would immediately rule this stock out based upon the weekly. But on the daily, you can see why it's in here. The 3 crossed the 6, and the 6 across the 18, but these other moving averages are still overhead. Now when the 3 crossed the 6, look at the green bar here, wider spread on lower volume. So it was showing up, and that's when the VPA also turned green. So that's where the buying started on this. But maybe for a short-term trade, it would be okay, but other than that, it just doesn't interest me that much. Okay, now I'm going to move down to the intermediate trend up. And let's take a look here. Let's take a look at CrowdStrike. That's a familiar name. Bring it up, and what you're going to see here are stocks where the histograms are all positive. You can see the 3.6 is positive, the 6.18, and also the 18.50. And that is represented up here. Now, the fan is not in place because the 100 has to get above the 50 for the fan to be in place. But the others are all in place, and let's look for the crossovers. Well, the most recent crossover you can see is right in here on this histogram, but the 6 and 18 crossed over back here and stayed positive, and then looks like right here is where the 1850 crossed over. So this stock is more in an uptrend, I should say. Here's the low, here's the higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high. So the stock is trending up. It's an expensive stock, no question about it. But what I'm pointing out here is the fact that the histograms are all positive. The VPOC is positive after a slight pullback here. There's a low volume test, and it looks like it wants to trend up. Now, before I get too excited, let's take a look at the weekly chart, and you can see that there was a big disaster here. This is, I can't remember what happened here. But anyway, extremely heavy selling, as you can see, and then the selling started tapering off. I don't know if this was an earnings announcement or some other announcement, but look at the weekly here. Here was a low volume test. 2 efforts to fall. Low volume test. Confirmation of that test. Low volume test. Confirmation. Low volume test. Confirmation. Efforts to rise on both of these. So it had to be some pretty disastrous news. But it was way overblown. If it weren't, buyers would not have come back in here and started taking this stock up again. So let's take a look here and see what week this was. It was August 9th on a Friday is when this bar ends. So let's take a look here if I can find August 9th. Well, here's the gap down, and here's where the daily chart started filling in. Look at this, a stopping volume, strength seen coming in. Well, what's this other signal here? Strength seen returning after a downtrend. Stopping volume normally indicates end of bearishness. What a great call right here, but pretty hard to buy these when it's falling like this. But you know, you can get into a stock here with those signals like on a debit or credit spread, and you know it's all risk defined, so you don't have to worry about it losing a bunch of money if it continues down. So that's the low, which we're seeing on the daily chart. And as I go down here, look at the histogram right here. turned positive on the 3, and it had a nice little run up. Then it turned negative here, and then it turned positive here, had a nice run, and then it pulled back. But on this pullback here, the 6 and 18 had turned positive, and it remained positive. So not such a big pullback here. Several black bars, though, enough to scare you if you're in it. A little over $300, but what did it pull back to? Around $275. Okay, I'm going to close this, and let's take a look at this Wyckoff chart. Here is the low of the day. It's showing that stopping volume and strength seen returning, and there is a dark green bar, which means higher volume, wider spread. So demand, which fits in with the VPA flags. There's another one. Then a slight pullback. The volume on the pullback had come down from the prior days, and then it started moving up again. Here we have a yellow bar, which means narrower price spread, lower volume. Accumulation, several accumulation bars here, even when it started coming back down. Now the group was going up here, and then it turned down as this pulled back. Then the group started up again here. That's when we had another crossover. Yes, we had an accumulation bar here, spinning top, more accumulation. Look how these wicks, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks as buyers were stepping a little bit as this was slowing down. And then there's the crossover right here. The VPA happened a day later after the crossover, and it had a nice little run up. Then a pullback here, pulled back. The group was pulling back too. Then the group turned around and it took off. These are all accumulation bars, though. Here's an effort to rise, a strong accumulation. Pull back here, looks like the group pulled back for a couple of days, and now it looks like it's setting up to go again. Okay, now let's go to the final scan in here. Let me bring the quick pick up. And remember, these are under my essential warehouse views. And now I'm going to go to the intermediate term trend up with the fan up. These are going to be the strongest stocks. And look, there's 35 of them in here that are box 7 or turnaround stocks. Eldorado Gold Corp is on top. Mankind is on second. CCJ, Kamiko Corp is third. Let's take a look at that one. It's up another 274% today, trading at 94% of its daily range. Has an RS of 81. Trading pretty heavy volume, above average volume here. This shows the percent compared to the 90-day. Let's just take a look at it. I'll make this full size. Bring up an arrow. You can see that the histograms are all very positive. The VPOC has been positive since here. Look at all these pocket pivot volume bars as this stock has continued to go up. So the histograms are all positive, and the fan is in place because here's the 200, here's the 100, here's the 50, and here's the 18. The latest buy point on this stock with the 3-6 crossover is right here. And remember, no stock can go up unless the 3 crosses the 6. And then as these stocks gain momentum, these other moving averages are going to be crossed, and the histograms are going to be crossed, and then they start getting taller, the bars do, as the extension moves away from the moving averages. Now looking up here, I haven't really commented on this up here yet, but the blue, if you look over here, all the way to the left corner, the industry is blue and the relative strength of the industry is green. So the industry is going up, and this stock is going up faster than the rest of its industry group because the green is moving up, as you can see. So this is probably the leader in the group. It's in base metals. Let's see if I can. Well, they're all going up today. How do you find the leader in the group? You click on the ranking module, and then what I do is I like to use this Wilder 14 weeks. It'll show me the stocks that are trading well above or near the top of the Wilder. I'll change this to relative strength. And you can see that uranium industry is actually a little bit stronger here. And when it went from red to green, that's when this stock took off it up. And then I'll come back to CCJ. So you can see this is a very strong stock, less expensive. Weekly is really strong, as is the daily, and you can see all the crossovers here. The 3 cross the 6, clear back here on the effort to rise confirmation. Like I said, if stocks are going up, the 3 has to cross the 6, and this has not looked back. Now I'll bring this one up, and then I'm going to go back to the other one. This one passed the screen because here's the 200, here's the 100, here's the 50, and here's the 18. So the fan is up. These have to be stacked in that order. Now I'm going to go take a look at this one here with the Wyckoff indicators. And right here with stopping volume, here's your first accumulation bar. Second with 2 efforts to rise, slight pullback, accumulation day, spinning top. So we have all of these accumulation bars coming off the bottom, as you can see. I put so much time into this because it just really gives a picture of where the accumulation is and throughout this move up. Now on this chart I also have the 3-6 crossover and the VPA crossover, and you can see the pocket pivot volume here also. So by using 3 charts, I can see what the weekly is doing, I can see what the daily is doing, I can see the crossovers, I can see the VPOC, and here's the Force 2-day that's added to the chart also. I can see accumulation days. See how the accumulation days stand out much more with these bars. So I just like this setup. Now let's go back to that other one. Okay. And you can see that it too has had several accumulation days, and it continues to move. Now this video is getting kind of long. I'm not going to do much, but I do want to show you one more thing though. These are all the positive crossovers, but I'm going to go to my trending down. I'm going to show you this one, and I may go into more of this next week, but I'm going to click the micro trend down, and the reason I'm doing this is, well, I'm in base metals now. Let me go back to I need to get back to my turnaround stocks and apply the filter. And this is microtrend down as of last night. Notice these columns here. Days down since the 3 crossed the 6. Everything's negative. But notice over here that these stocks are all up today. So what this allows you to do is take a look at stocks that where the 3 was below the 6, but they're up today, and you may be able to catch stocks at the bottom. I don't know this stock here. I do know this stock here, so let's take a look at it, or maybe look at a couple of them. But you can see that the 3 was below the 6 on this, but it gapped up today, so it's finding support down here at the 50, and there was a gap up, so there's some buying starting to come into this stock. Let's find another stock that this one right here, Lightspeed Commerce. Why am I looking at it? Because it's at 95% of its daily range. Volume is light on this, but it's up today. So let's take a look at it. You can see that it's been slightly negative here on the 3 crossing the 6. Big move up, but now the momentum is starting to shift up today because the price is up. And you can see that there are VPA flags here. Quick add to group. I'm going to take a look at this one on Monday. It's had a big move right here. The 3-6 is negative, 618 positive. The 1850 is positive, but the fan is not in place. But this is the trigger right here. This is why it's showing up. The 3 is below the 6 because I'm in a context. Oh, I don't want the charts. I want the warehouse. I'm in the micro trend down intraday. So this is how you can find stocks that are pulling back or have pulled back, but yet they're starting to show some accumulation intraday. Let's do one more here. Let's take a look at this one to look at originally. Oh, it's a really cheap stock. I don't know anything about it. The weekly is terrible. So let's just forget about that one. Let's go back to Lightspeed. Take a look at the weekly. It doesn't seem to get much. The momentum seems to die. Maybe it just doesn't have much upside. Let's go in here. Take a look. You can see that it falls into the box 7 stock. It looks like the blue line represents the earnings. That the line isn't smooth. It pulled back here, so it had a little pullback there, and that's why it's in the box 7 category. But it may move some more. There was some big jolt here. Look at the volume on this, and now profit taking. But other buyers are coming in. I'll be taking a look at it on Monday. I'm going to end this video. It's getting pretty long, 35 minutes, and I'll continue doing this next week and show you some more of this and other things that I've been working on to help you find, hopefully, winning stocks. We'll get into some ETFs too, not this week, but at some point down the road. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend.